Hello friends, here we are in the jungle, the wilderness at the back of my allotment, where all kinds of things have taken over. There was, when I first acquired the plot, a lot of bindweed amongst all this, which I think I've largely managed to get rid of, which is good. But anyway, I've also started to cut this tree back a little bit, because as you can see it's just all over the place. And while I was doing that, it occurred to me that I might be able to make use of not only the leaves for compost, but the branches. So let me show you this. Oh, that's my new bed where I'm going to put sweet corn. I finally got around to digging that, and I've just covered it up so we don't get too many weeds spreading on that. So that's that. Anyway, over here at the compost heap, here's some of the branches that I cut away. And all I've been doing is, I'll see if I can do this one-handed now, probably not, but I've just been stripping the leaves off and the smaller twigs, putting the leaves into the compost there. And what that leaves me with, what the leaves leave me with, is these lovely branches. And out of these branches I can make myself a trellis. So as you can see, what I've started to do is just take 2 or 3 of them and wind them together and tie them up with garden wire, garden twine like that. And because it's still fairly damp, or at least fairly green, it's quite bendy like that, so I can hopefully bend it into an arch and make myself a nice support for a polytunnel or a cold frame or something like that. Just a thought I might share it with you. I have to say that I really do love the roots on sage plants. Just the structure of it, and the big woody tree-like stems that it starts to form as it spreads. And what I've done today, finally, is pulled out what remains of the sage in bed number 1, because this is the area where I'm going to grow my cabbages this year. So I've got rid of most of the herbs apart from the garlic and the chives and a couple of other things just right at the end here. There's my onions. But this space, about 1/3 of the bed, roughly in the middle here, is where I'm going to grow my cabbages and maybe some broccoli and a few other things like that. But because I had so much sage, I've had to pull it up and divide it around the garden. So, here inside the bottle bed, which is basically now my herb bed, I've cut back a few, prune them right back there. Those were just some stems that I planted in the soil to see if they would take, but they didn't, so I'll let them compost down there. And the same with the thyme, actually. There's some of the thyme that I pulled out from just here. And there's some more. There's some more sage near to the roses, and there's some more. I did say I'd got a lot of it, and well, I meant it. I do. So I'm just finding spots now really to put the rest of it, and I like to think of gardening and allotmenteering, if that's a word, allotmenting, I don't know, as it's kind of like a painting or putting a puzzle together. You come back one day and you add a little bit more, and you see another piece of the puzzle, the part of the overall picture, and you just make the necessary adjustments. or additions, or subtractions for that matter. So here I'm just planting a few of the sage, the last two remaining sage bushes, trees I guess you would call them. I'll cut this one back a little bit as well. And I'm just having it kind of along the edge of where the blackcurrants are, between that and the shed. I was going to have a kind of makeshift greenhouse here, but I've decided against that in the end. So I'm just going to start planting things along here instead. And then it's like my shed is a little wood cabin in the middle of a miniature forest. A giant wood cabin. I don't know. It just feels right.